Okay, so we're back here on Buddy Spoiler for Blazing Overclash. We're here to talk about some of the cards that got revealed. The card of the day is Koro, and there are some really good cards for obviously 100 Demons, Zodiac, Knights. Just Dungeon World got some really nice stuff, so I want to take a look at that. First of all, we have Hyakugan YAMIGEDO support and Construct support. Finally, it only took Bushiroad a few years, but we have Construct support, and it is just incredible. So here we have Phoenix of Deity Technique, Bladewing Phoenix. So Kazane, it's Buddy, in case you somehow don't know that. Anyways, call cost is put an adventurer and a dungeon enemy from your field in this card's soul and pay 2 gauge. At the start of your attack phase, if an adventurer and another dungeon enemy, so it doesn't include this card basically, are on your field, you get to draw 2 cards, so free draw 2 is real nice. And for this turn, this card gets quadruple attack, and on attack, you gain a life, deal damage with move, penetrate, soul guard, and counter attack. So it gets 5 abilities in all if you can get everything. So first off, 8k stats are pretty nice. 3 crit, quadruple attack. Definitely it's not something you want to mess with, especially with the gain of life and deal of damage, which is just really good. Plus, you have to remember with this item right here, if I can pull it up, Cleda's Staff, Cledabine. Here, you're going to get power plus 6,000 and defense plus 6,000, so plus 8 if my math is correct. You're going to go up to 14k, which is really nice. So if they don't have a way to remove your weapon, Believing Phoenix with those AA8 stats are just nothing. You think it's bad at first, but then you think about the item, you're like, okay, he's getting 6/6, so he's going to have 14,000 power and defense, which is definitely really nice, especially with move, penetrate, and he's got 2. So call cost is a bit hefty because you need to have 2, but we'll have a look at some other cards. So I mean, Bladewing Phoenix, good card all around. People are going to meme with this. It's going to be just a solid card. It just really opens up a lot of potential for meme. I don't want to say meme decks because I feel like that's unfair to people who actually build like really good decks for this. Like I know Austin Somers is really into that, but anyways, he's like the Dungeon World guy. But anyways, it's just really cool to anyone who enjoys Dungeon World or these characters. So I mean, this card's really good. Definitely going to be using it on BA Fair, playing for fun. Anyways, the item we already looked at basically prevents your bounce, so being returned to hand, and also starts effect destruction as well, which is really good. So it's also got double attack, and it's got a soul, so your opponent needs to have that soul drop ability first to get rid of it. We also have this card, which when I first draw it, I had to make sure. I'm like, wait, this thing isn't a free draw too, because I misread the second, the second effect, the last effect. And for some reason, I thought it was like, okay, you just need to have one of them on the field. And I'm like, wait, let me just read that. But basically, you can only cast it if you have an adventurer or a dungeon enemy on your field. Again, with Kazane's deck, usually having a mix of both. Even with the triple or Kazane, all the way back from, I forgot what the name was. It Buddy? No, not Buddy Rave, or something like that. Anyways, one of the older set. I have the card somewhere. Anyways, pay 1 gauge, draw 2 cards. Then if an adventurer and dungeon enemy are on your field, you get to draw cards. So 1 gauge, draw 3. This is basically a slightly better version of Electro Deities, even though Electro Deities got to get their item up, which isn't the hardest thing in the world. But actually, no, they do have to wait a turn to get the, put the size 3 Electro Deity on top. But anyways, this card is still really good. So it's just solid 1 gauge, draw 3. There isn't really much else to say for it. Really adds to draw power of the deck and is really, really good. COBALT right here. This guy's really interesting. I haven't looked up all the cards for size 1 adventurers, but I know there's, I think Gal, I don't remember Paruko exactly that much power, but there's definitely a lot of meme potential and actual just good stuff because it's consistent with his enter field effect. So call cost 1 life. When this card is called from your hand, call up to 1 size 1 adventurer with 4,000 power from your deck by paying its call cost and shuffle your deck. And at the end of the battle, if an adventurer or dungeon enemy with this card in its soul, you get to pop up to 1 card on your field or destroy. I just use pop because I'm just so used to that terminology. But anyways, it's also a size 0 too. So, I mean, you could meme this with MISEREA. You could use this simply to get consistent adventurers out of your deck. I don't remember if, what was it, the name of that blue-haired size 1 adventurer that stops bounce for your items, gets you to redraw 2. I don't remember, she has 4,000 power. But still, just a really cool card. And I mean, it's COBALT support. So, I didn't look at this card last time, but still a lot of meme potential there and a lot of just cool stuff for the deck. We also got this card, which is actually support for Mission Card End. I don't remember the full name of the card, but basically it's an impact you can set during your final phase. And basically whenever a Demon Lord on your field attacks, you get to put a card from your top card of your deck into its soul face down. And when it has 5 of those, you can basically get rid of it off your field, and your opponent's life become 1, and then this card's effect will come in and deal damage. So basically, that's the combo. It's also an Omni Lord, interestingly enough, if you want to maybe, I don't know. Well, I don't think you could really do this in Legend World. Obviously, it's a lot easier, and it's supposed to be used with that specific impact in Dungeon, but still, it's pretty nice. Set an impact, obviously, that's specifically just for Mission End, unless we get another card or in the future. But yeah, it's basically set up just for that, but also can be protection. Doesn't have any size reduction. I thought it would have that, so you could use it with the size 3 Omnilord MISEREA, but still a pretty cool card to get, so really works well with that. And if you maybe combo this with bots and other cards, you can easily get your opponent down to 1 life and just take them out. So in a way, it's Demon Lord support. Again, we don't have, there's still, I believe, a few double rares and triple rares, including commons as well, that have not actually been revealed yet. So we don't exactly have the full list yet, but it's still coming. Anyways, moving on. We have got Folktale stuff, and Folktale got some really good cards. There was a promo, I don't remember if I talked about it, but from the soul of a card with Folktale, you can pay 2 gauge, and it's an expensive spell null, and it goes back to your deck, not into drops, so you can reuse it with this card. But anyways, we have new Emma right here, and this card is just really good for a Folktale. I really don't get why Bushiroad does this. Like, I'm just confused by this card, really, of how good it is. So anyways, this card in the field or in the soul of a Folktale, so it can be in either one. Folktale items and spells in your field cannot be destroyed nor return hand, and their souls cannot be dropped by your opponent's card effects. So just by having this literally anywhere on your field remotely, just protects everything, basically. Again, it's only items and spells, but you can still, like, anyways, whenever anything's getting destroyed, you can just pay a life and put it back into your item. And then again, you also have your spell, which completely nukes everything, which allows you to do that counter spell from the Climax set. So they're pretty set off, which is nice. And when this card attacks, you put a card from your drops into the soul of a Folktale spell or item. So you can choose Ex Biblio, or you can choose their new set spell to give just insane buffs to all your Folktale monsters. And on top of it, when it's destroyed, you get to drop on your opponent's gauge, and you get to use that on attack effect twice, because it also has double attack. And let's say with Alice's buff, Alice's Wonderland spell, this card can go up, I believe it's +1, +2, or +3. Excuse me if I'm wrong, or double check on that. If you want to tell me in the comments I'm wrong, I'm perfectly fine with that. But you also get some pretty good stats, so basically around 10k power and 3 or 4 crit, which is definitely not something you want to mess with. And losing your gauge, because gauge is basically one of the primary resources that you pretty much need for every single Buddyfight deck. So that is really nasty. And again, you're able to just call out Emma again with Ex Biblio's, was it March Panic effect? If that's the name, if I got it right. It's just a really good card. There's not really much else to say. And again, how I talked about the double buddy here, we have Alice. I don't believe I looked at her effect last time. So anyways, you reduce the size of all originally size 1 Folktale on your field by 1. And then counteract, you can call an originally size 1 or less Folktale from hand by paying call costs. So again, that's really good. Counteract, you can just use whenever, in between phases, in response to something. Just really good in general. Counteract, during either player's attack phase, you can put an originally size 1 or less Folktale from your field into spell a Folktale item or spell if you do stand this card. And it's also not once per turn, so you can just keep spamming that away if you have enough hand cards. And I believe Folktale also got a new resource card. Never mind, I lied. They also got this card though. Whoops, wrong card. This card, Card Soldier KLEIN Corpse. You have any number in your deck. At the end of the battle card, you can put your card from your hand into Happiness Wonderland just to stack soul for that effect. And again, it also has Soul Guard too. So there really isn't really a reason not to have too many, because they try to remove it. Like Soul Guard is just stops everything basically, and you have Emma there too, and other cards to just stop ability completely. So end ability, you can shove into soul of the set spell. If you do, draw a card and deal done damage, and then counteract, you drop this card from soul Folktale on your field. If you do, for this turn, next damage you take is reduced to 0. So it's basically no cons to this card in a way. The stats aren't the greatest, but it's just all around a good card, and the fact that you can have more of it, more than 4, is really nice as well. So again, you're always getting soul with either Alice, Emma, or this card into Happiness Wonderland, which gets you really good buffs, and also having that defense ability as well whenever it's in the soul of any Folktale is just good. So yeah, no size 3s yet. We also have this card, which is a White Rabbit, so just a better version of the Searcher, the better version of the, was it the Dwarf Searcher before, so you can get either the Folktale item or set spell, and when it's destroyed, you get a free pop for either a spell or item, which is just good. And also for Knights, we got this card. So this card is just so good with bonus quests, because bonus quests of size 2 or greater, you can basically just use El Quixote's Overturn or mission cards, set up your items, bonus quest, drop this thing, and you're basically drawing 3, gaining 2 life and getting 2 gauge. Sorry, you also get initial gauge from this, so that's 3 gauge. It's a really nice card, and because you're using bonus quest specifically to get into drop, you can use basically a lot of the night cards that grab cards from drop to put into soul, and they basically get immunity. But again, it's only specifically for the knight that has it in its soul, so your item still doesn't always have bounce protection still. There's also another really great spell right here. So searching for mission cards. I'm so used to thinking mission set spells. I don't know why I said deck. Anyways, put to 1 card with mission is card name from your deck and shuffle your deck. Or you can counter, call a knight monster and drop it paying its call cost. So that is really good because a lot of the knight effects you can often just attack with the monsters or go with the items first. Spam their effects to gain the life or destruction, especially with the new sword for the link attacks. And they also get pretty good buffs as well. Or instead, you can do it to swap out to someone like the previous El Quixote to stand all your items again and do it again, or something else. And there's also some really interesting adventures that I want to look at. So that basically covers everything. Happiness Wonderland is just really good. When a card enters this card's soul, draw 2. Like, do I even need to explain why this card is good? All folks on your field just immediately get power 5,000 for each of this card's soul. So, I mean, what is that? 3 soul, you have 15,000 power already, which is just insane. And when it has 3 or more soul, all folk take a critical +2. So MIKAZUCHI had 3 crit and 11,000 powers, to correct myself. And again, just free draw 2, activates on both turns, and it's got soul guard. So if they try to drop it, bounce it, destroy it, yeah, it's just free protection. And they do have already soul protection for all folk, I believe. I think it's Mirror or Prince. I don't remember which card exactly, but there is a really good card that does that. So that's basically it for Dungeon World. There are some more adventures. Okay, this card right here. So basically when we had the ultimate sets for Ace, you know, you had the Miko and Mel, and then we had the Hero World. This is basically the card that is for It's Superhero Time and Miracle Fighter. This is the card in the set that you want to get for value, and this is the card that is going to spike in price because it is really good and it works for so many different things. So first off, it's Dungeon World dual card, and it's got the 100 Demon attribute, so of course you can use it in the 100 Demons deck. And the scroll cost is also pretty free, so unfortunately you can only cast it during your turn, but it is a counter, so you can draw into it and then cast it later in your turn. So cast cost, drop a soul from a card in your field, check top 3, 1 from among them into your hand, and risk cards into gauge, so basically 2 gauge, 1 hand card. It's really good. Folktail obviously just, with all their new effects, have so much soul. Kazana, you can easily drop it from either your item or her buddy, which is BLADEWING. Tsuku, like let's be real, Jack just has infinite soul. Like who cares about Jack at this point? Okay, wait. I want to retract that statement. Anyways, you get the point. The cold cost is not hard, and with the new YAMIGEDO, it really isn't hard either. Especially because people were complaining, oh, you know, 4 gauge YAMIGEDO. We'll get to 100 demons in a second. Also, Hyakugan support. But yeah, this card is definitely going to be the card that you want to get, and you probably either want to wait for it to drop in price. I'm not really the person to ask about for card market. Usually I'll just wait for it to die down, but a lot of the time cards will often spike up. So you know, either hold on to these and wait till their price spike up and see what happens. But this is definitely a card that you want. I don't think you necessarily need 4 of it, depending on what deck or whatever you do. Like, you can never solidly say 4 of a card in a deck, maybe except for searchers in certain scenarios. But there are always things that you can change about a deck, and it's not, obviously deck lists are made to be different. So what I'm saying is that you're not necessarily going to need 4 of this card, but it's going to be the card that you want. It's going to be expensive. And yeah, it's just a good card. And I'm not even going to just try and pronounce that name. So, yeah. Okay, before we quickly get to 100 Demon support, which is really hype, Zodiac Dragon Force, if you care about that, just stopping stand and move for reasons. I want to look at the adventurer cards for the main characters. Or, yeah, but they're basically the main characters. So, Masato right here, 1 gauge top card, Deck Soul, got Soul Guard D-Share, D-Shard, or I'm just going to call it D. When this card link text, destroy card opponent's field. If you do, draw a card. So, the if you do part sucks. So, because everything in Ace already has anti-destruction, I'm just going to say this card is bad. And, of course, you got a Link Attack. There's just better options for Link Dragon Order. So, like, I really don't need to explain that card any further. You also have this Yuga, which is actually really interesting for Knights, and specifically when I first read the card. So, 1 gauge top card, Deck into Soul. Counteract, let's enjoy it during your turn. Call an Adventure or DEITY Dragon Chime for your hand on top of this card. So, basically, you can do that with, let's say you somehow top deck KAMIL into Soul, or something else. So yeah, whenever you're doing that, you're just stacking soul effects in him, and you can just stack those effects, whether it be KAMIL or his own. So let's say you even top deck him into his own soul. When you call a new knight on top, and whenever it's attacking, you're going to gain 2 life, deal 2 damage, which is just good. And also, because it's got 4,000 power, Cobalt can search that out. So, and I believe, obviously it's got Soul Guard. I believe RANMA also has 4,000 power. Yeah, so this card, Phantom Clown RANMA, this ability, Vanity's ability right here. So yeah, you're not gaining life anytime soon, not even before the opponent goes into Lost World. So that's the thing. So knights, adventurers can use this. Mission card can search this. Anyways, going on to call costs. Card from drop into soul on 1 gauge. Counteract, choose card from most field, drop an adventure or dimension dragon from your hand. If you do destroy that card, your flag is Lost World, put the card in your drop zone instead. So honestly, not bad. I can maybe seeing some text or maybe sideboards of this in certain decks, but honestly, the can't gain life obviously is what you're looking for, but card destruction, especially when it's limited to only your opponent's turn, isn't really that great. But yeah, maybe we'll see maybe 1, 2, maybe more of that in Lost World. I'm not really I played Dimension Dragons before, but I'm not really too keen on them. And I feel like Dimension Dragons are now losing popularity with the newer decks for set 5 and the crossovers sets that are coming. But yeah, that is really annoying, the fact that you can just stop gaining life, just like that. Anyways, moving on, we also have support for MISEREA, which is actually the cold-blooded MISEREA. So this card, when you set this card, put to 1 spell with Apocalypse, so basically setting up your MISEREA combo to bring him out. And act, choose a mission card, a great spell Apocalypse, and drop all of its soul if you do gain 3 life. No draw, unfortunate, like the Asgard spell, but oh well, it is what it is. And you also have this card, which finally, it's basically the better version of Bunny Call and, what was it, the other, what's it called? Ultimate Buddy or whatever, that stacks soul and gives soul guard to your buddy. So counter, put this card in the soul of monster in your field. This card in the soul of Judgment of the Cold-Blooded King MISEREA, the one with 5 gauge that, has lifelink 10, so you usually use. And it gets soul guard, power plus 10,000, and defense plus 10,000, so it becomes basically a beast. And if this card is in the soul of a demon lord in your field, all demon lord with set on your field cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects, and cannot be returned to hand by your opponent's card effects. So that second effect is definitely what you're looking for. Maybe even in the mission card deck with the other MISEREA, because you definitely don't want your set spells to be touched at all. So really nice protection there for that. And of course, being able to give Soul Guard so it just doesn't die in one shot. And again, Soul Guard stopping your bounce, destruction, and of course drop effects too if you run into Vanity and somehow Brawl Zeus, if Brawl Zeus is still being used now. I just don't see Godpunks being as popular now, and your chances of running to them are still like, I feel like it's still low. They're still a really, I don't want to say they're really strong. They're still a good deck, but I don't think they're really going to see much light until they get further support. Anyways, finally, Hyakugan YAMIGEDO support. Where do we start? Okay, let's start with the actual good Hyakugan YAMIGEDO, because this is what you're going to be seeing in decks. So, Fortune Soul of Light, YAMIGEDO MIKAZUCHI, so basically an evolution of sorts of the Mikazuchi we got in Buddy Legends. So call cost, put 1 or more 100 demons from your field in this card soul, pay 2 gauge. Assuming you get 3 out, that's 3 soul instantly like that. For that in return, you can pay 1 life. If you do call a monster YAMIGEDO's card from your hand or drop zone on top of this card without paying its call cost, so you don't have to pay that 4 cost. So now 100 demons player can't complain like, oh man, my boss monster, my best monster in my deck requires 4 gauge. I can't get that out. That's so annoying. Bam, you have this guy. And you also have 2 searchers now for YAMIGEDO, so you really cannot complain about that. So if you do call a monster YAMIGEDO again, hand or drop, which is really nice, even if it was in the gauge for the call cost, without paying cost, which is really good. And then Thunder Mine, when a card in your opponent's field attacks, deal damage to your opponent, double attacking Soul Guard. And this Thunder Mine is not once per turn, so whenever they're attacking, they're taking 1 damage. You use that spell that puts a card on the bottom of your deck, gauge and draw. I forgot what the name of the spell was, but it basically stops your opponent from reducing damage. This card is going to hurt a lot. So whenever your card attacks, bam, 1 damage. G-Boost, you want to attack, bam, take a damage. I still, again, with all the cards not being revealed yet, I still believe the 100 Demons has to get at least 1 better defense spell, which I'll get to basically to this item. And again, just a really solid YAMIGEDO right there. So great Claw the Calamity Deity. What I want to bring highlight to is the third effect though. So a size 3 monster with Hyakugan as card in your center, you cannot be dealt damage. So it's only specifically for Hyakugan, but this item still works for YAMIGEDO in general, but it's still not going to be stopping penetrate, which really sucks for 100 demon characters, 100 demon players. Like, I feel bad for this. We're just there like, oh yeah, you know what? You can get this incredible item. If you're looking at the first effect, it can attack through center. It's got decent stats. It can't really be touched by your opponent unless you somehow run into Vanity or Brawl Zeus, which aren't as popular anymore. Maybe not Vanity. Anyways, you basically don't get to stop effect damage if you don't have a monster with Hyakugan. So unless you're playing the Hyakugan, which I can't even say is really much of a meme deck because of this new support. But yeah, you basically don't get to stop Penetrate unless you're playing the Hyakugan deck. But it still got Penetrate double attack. It's still an item that doesn't get removed. The other item that still gives that good power buff, power defense buff, and I forgot what the other item does. Still think it's a better alternative if you are playing the main deck. Again, I have to look at the item again. But yeah, this item is just really good. Just being able to have to not worry about this item at all being removed is really nice. And again, Penetrate double attack, good stats. But again, I feel like that's just a shaft to all 100 demon players that are like, oh man, great, I still take Penetrate and effect damage, thanks Bushi. But again, Hyakugan YAMIGEDO support, so yeah, really unfortunate. But anyways, let's move on. So we've got some really great spells as well. And also because it specifies specifically size 3, you can't even use this card in your deck, and you still can't get that protection. So that's unfortunate. But anyways, I quickly have a look at this card. When this card sends a drop zone from deck, you can call this card from your drop zone. So obviously, there is Rainbow Promise. I don't remember if Rainbow Promise stops your own deck. Well, obviously the enemy can use this. I forgot again. Let me, you know what? Let me look it up. I don't want to make a mistake. But yeah, basically it's supposed to be used with Hyakugan's effect to stop, what was it called? Milling. Sorry, to help out your milling. To call this card out. And when it enters the field, you have size 3 monster with YAMIGEDO on field. Just grab any 100 demons. Drops into hand, and actually now that I realize, it just says put up to 100 demons, so it can be spell, item, like just anything, which is really good. Where is Rainbow? Okay, so I forgot to mention this, but also vegetables, if you remember what that is from April Fools, are actually getting printed and are going to be in a future set, so that's hype for vegetables. Actual fun, super annoying but still annoying Danger World deck. Anyways, here's Rainbow Promise here. So I'm looking at the effect. This card dropped by a card by anyone's bonus card effects, and it stops milling only. Cards cannot be dropped from your deck, so basically there's no way to still stop self-mill, which is nice because decks, still focus on that. But yeah, Rainbow Promise still kills mill decks for the time being. But anyways, basically it's supposed to be used with that, and grabbing any 100 demons from your deck. You're probably playing a pretty, maybe 100 card plus deck if you're using Hyakugan. And also you've got 2 searches, which is the older one and this one. And thank goodness this one can search 2 monsters, and if you're playing it like you're actually playing 100 demons for real competitively, you can search for like YAMIGEDO SD or something else to put into soul instead of getting the 2 body parts for Evil Deity, Hyakugan YAMIGEDO. So 1 life, search for 2 monsters. If you search 2, you have to drop a hand card. I don't know if 100 demons will get their own Valkyrie. I don't know why. I'm kind of hoping that they will. Anyways, you also have the counter call 100 demons from your drop zone by paying its call cost. So yeah, just a solid searcher for 2 Hyakugans. You can search for, it doesn't even have to be SE, you can search for the old MIKAZUCHI and the new one to get that just straight setup, which is really, really nice. And again, the counter call is just nice for burn damage and for getting certain cards out. And even if your YAMIGEDO dies, you're like, bam, 1 life, it's back, easy. So yeah, really great for that. And yeah, that's basically it for, oh wait, Great Cataclysm. How could I forget this card? So, we have 2 cards so far. We're going to have a look at another one for Prism Dragon. This video is probably just super long by now. But anyways, Great Cataclysm. It's basically like the, I don't want to compare it to Grandfather Clock because it doesn't give you another turn. But it's basically like that in a way. So you only cast this card if you have size 3 YAMIGEDO's card on your field and 20 or more cards in your drop zone. Obviously, this works a lot better with Hyakugan YAMIGEDO, and you use this later in the game to reset your deck. But, I mean, it can still be used, and it still gets you good draw. So, counter, return all cards for your hand, drop zone, and gauge into your deck. So, and shuffle. So, again, it's not affecting your field at all. Then you get to draw 6 cards, gauge 2 into your, gauge 2, and then your life becomes 10. I can't speak. So, it's basically like Overturn MISEREA, basically. I should have made that comparison instead. And there's also something similar for Prism Dress we'll look at in a second, but I mean, it's just a really good card. You're like, okay, Hyakugan YAMIGEDO's dying. I remember back when I tried to beam with Hyakugan YAMIGEDO against like Thunder Empire on BFA and stuff like that. Like, if so many attacks, you're milling out your deck so much, so this definitely helps out a lot. But again, it's only once per fight, but still just a really, really good card. And especially that counter, maybe you're losing or you're about to die, and you're out of deck, so this stops milling. And again, there's also Rainbow Promise to screw that over as well. So yeah, you have Rainbow Promise to stop your opponent from milling out your deck if you're somehow in that bad matchup. And now you also have this, which resets your deck and gets you the 6 gauge 2 life. Sorry, 6 gauge, 6 hand cards, 2 gauge, and 10 life. I keep mixing that up. Anyways, it's just a good card. So moving on, we're gonna move on to Star Dragon World. And Star Dragon World is Star Dragon World. I really don't know how to say it. Anyways, we got a new Dragon Force. So, yeah, this is a thing. How many Dragon Force have we gotten? The release condition is like a flashback to Spirit of Justice. And again, it's got this card in the field. Just can't be touched. You know, usual Dragon Force stuff. And counteract during the attack phase. Choose a Neo Dragon on your field. Put up to 1 Dragon Arms from your hand or deck into soul if you search your deck shuffle. So, I mean, I really don't know what to say about this card further. It's got 7/3, double attack, nice, and it can just grab any Dragon Arms from your hand, from your deck. Just being able to search any is just really good. You could search for the size 0 that can call size 2 or less Neo Dragon from your hand. You can get your double attacker, the thing that's dropped to gives a life. You can grab, you pay a life to search for an item. I don't even know if you'd still use that. You can grab your spell null to throw that into Jack's soul. It's just really good. Any Dragon Arms, and if you're obviously going to be playing a wide variety for Jackknife in specific, it's just really good. Okay, here we've got the new Jackknife. It's still a bit blurry from Korokoro, but the point is it's basically another call during attack phase. Basically, it's just during the attack phase, draw a card. I'm just going to read it off. Call to 1 monster Jackknife, its card name on top without paying call cost with move double attack soul card. So again, you already have Galaxy Wing. It's basically like a lot of effects now that just counter calls Jackknife. And again, you also have the previous one that can drop a card and then rearrange, and then you get the triple attack. I forgot what the name of the card is. The one from, I can't remember the set for some reason. Basically, you just have a lot more ways to bring out Jack. And for loyalty, for the most part, I mean, you still have your spell null, but I don't know if this is really going to change Jack as much. But, I mean, it's still just a good Jack evolution, so you still got to take it. You have this for ability null, basically being like, okay, I get power, which is actually a pretty good amount, 2,000 for each card in soul, and also stops ability null completely, so that's like your better alternative, because it's just really more effects condensed into Dragon Arms, and now you can use that more for more cards. It replaces instead of having more cards in your deck. And you also have a searcher right here, so search for any release condition from your deck. Again, you're probably going to be playing the new Dragon Force because it's just better. And also put up to 2 Dragon Arms or monster Jackknife's card from draws into hand, so a really nice grab to reuse cards or evolutions of Jack. And you also have a new SHADOWSCARE that is actually good, so hopefully if we see Tsuku back in the anime, he'll actually use this. So if you have originally size 2 Neo Dragon on your field, reduce the size of this card in your field by 1, so it doesn't specify only Jack, which is really nice. So basically becomes size 0. And with Rainbow Vision View, when a card enters the soul of a Neo Dragon, so they can even be from call cost as well, you have to check top 3, rest into gauge, put up to 1 from on them into your gauge, 1 to hand, and the rest of drops on the soul of a monster. So it's kind of like the Blood Dragon spell, which is really nice. And also a Soul Guard as well, in case you want to stack soul into it and keep it alive. So that's basically it for Neo Dragons. I don't really know how to feel about Neo Dragons at this point. I feel like they're just mediocre. Like, obviously, they can still perform, but I think we still have to wait and still see what the rest of the sets to come. Again, they still also got that card from the previous set that was like, oh, I can't lose the game for whatever the reason. So, yeah, Neo Dragons and Prism Dragons at this point, I still feel like they're just the annoying deck still, specifically Prism Dragons. Just Star Dragon World in general, I don't know why. I feel like they're just getting on my nerves, or I just feel like they're really annoying. Anyways, moving on. We've got Prism Dragons, and Prism Dragons got some how do I say this? Just really whack cards in this set. So first off, we have Calvados ST. So if you call a Prism Dragon from your hand, the gauge cost written on the call cost is reduced by 2. So when this card in his field, you can drop a hand card. If you do, put us a 1 Prism Dragon with ATHORA in his card name, or defense item from your deck into your hand and shuffle. So first off, being able to search for any ATHORA is really good. There's still Gemiologist, even though that can be nulled. This card is still pretty good. I don't believe Prism Dragons have anything for drop effects, like their own Valkyrie. But I mean, this card's still good to search for any ATHORA. And any defense item is still good. But the thing is, Shelter is still relevant because it can search for any card with defense, which is basically most of the cards in your Prism Dragon deck. That's why you still see it played now. Either be 1, 2, I don't know, maybe even more, for whatever it is for Prism Dragons. This card is still good, but I feel like it's not going to replace things completely. But yeah, the fact that Shelter can still search anything with defense in the deck, when compared to this, where it's specifically only item, you're still going to be using Shelter because Shelter's just really good. And being able to have a consistent searcher is just really good for your deck. You also have Belnui Shoot, which is kind of just, I don't know, I feel like your niche card for Prism Dragons. So for this turn, all cards in your opponent's field get power and defense minus 5,000, or drop a soul and pop. So it's like the jewel card all the way back from the alternative set, but better and at counter speed. And of course, you have this card, which is the one I want to talk about, which is the once per fight. This is basically a better asterism effect, but it's also supposed to be used with the new ATHORA. So you only cast this card if you use Overturn during this fight. Drop a silver monster with ATHORA in his card in your field and drop a hand card. Counter for this turn, all Prism Dragons cannot be destroyed by opponent's card effects or leave the field by your opponent's card effects. Granted, Bro Zeus still gets around that because it's, you know, not leaving field is still card effects, so Bro Zeus can still get around this. Then return all cards from your drop zone to your deck and shuffle your deck. So, I mean, I guess if you're playing Lost Prisms, this is good, but it still feels like I don't know I don't know how to react to this card. Basically, is what I'm trying to say. It's just it's a card. It exists. It's Prisms. I really don't know how to react to this anymore. But yeah, you're resetting your entire deck. So much forever decking out Prism Dragons. And again, in Lost, you can also do this, but only with certain cards. Again, the thing is with Lost, you can only return Lost cards back to the Lost deck. You can't return main deck cards back to the Lost deck. And again, once you go into Lost World, your main deck is not part of the game anymore. You can check all the rules for stuff yourself, but yeah, this card exists. So again, this is supposed to be used with the Overturn for this. So we have another ALDO ATHORA, 3H top 2. Again, if you're using COBALT, there's only 1 gauge top 2. This card in the field cannot be short, cannot be dealt damage by card effects. So, sorry, cannot be short, you cannot be dealt damage by card effects. That comma confuses people. So yeah, you know, your usual ATHORA stuff. 10,000 power, 10,000 defense, 2 critical, you know, slight power creep, or the same for ATHORA stats. But ATHORA stats are just slightly getting higher every time. Anyways, Overturn, drop a hand card during your opponent's turn. For this turn, all Prism Dragon on your field cannot be destroyed or leave the field by your opponent's card effect, and they get defense plus 1 million. I mean, G-Boost doesn't care. If you don't have the resources to take it out, that's unfortunate. I mean, like, I really don't see the point of giving it defense plus 1 million. I mean, there are already decks that can get 1 million plus power, again, like G-Boost, or just get straight up infinite power, and you already have that immunity effect. But again, leave the field by your opponent's card effects. Bro Zeus still gets around this, so rip Prism Dragons, and double attack Soul Guard, Soul Vanity as well. So yeah, this card is a thing that exists. I really just don't know why. I mean, they already had the previous ATHORA, which is really good for searching and just putting any ATHORA on top from hand. And I don't remember if it was deck as well. But yeah, ATHORA is getting some better support. But this card it's definitely the stall card. Like, people are going to hate you if you use this card. And you're going to want to if you're playing Prism Dragons. So yeah, I really don't know how to feel about Prism Dragons. I still find them annoying. I still feel like they're one deck in the game that, like, no matter what, you're just going to get pissed off fighting them one way or another. Even if your deck can beat them, you're just going to be like, why does this deck exist? Bushiroad, why'd you make this the one exception? Bots was only 1 turn. At least he was balanced. Why did you do this to us? So, yeah, it's just like the thought process of me just trying to understand Bushiroad and their, like, creation of this deck. But yeah, for those who love Prism Dragons, who love the support, all props to you, power to you, but I still just don't like Prism Dragons for one reason or another. So yeah, I think that's basically it. I don't know how long this video is. I'm just gonna upload the raw footage, but I just really want to talk about these cards, and they're honestly good cards for good decks, and I'm really happy that Bushiroad made them. Obviously, I feel like Bushiroad's still one of the companies that, like, obviously they're gonna specifically choose to give support to get money, obviously, because, you know, they're a company. But at the same time, it still feels like there's sometimes certain decks that don't get that support or are missed out on. But at least this deck is fulfilling some of those holes in people that wanted support, and it's really good support. So really happy for that, and definitely going to want to mess around with these cards on BFA. Maybe a live stream, possibly this week. So look forward to that, and sorry again for not uploading a video in a week. I was actually on vacation and just got back. If you don't see this video up until maybe Monday, then, or if your time zone is ahead, then yeah, that's basically why. But thank you guys so much for watching. I just have a lot of fun talking about these cards, and they're really good cards, and it's really cool to see some of the old characters back. So thank you guys so much for watching. Tell me what you think about the cards. If you play any of these decks, are you really happy about it? Do you just love the artwork for these cards? And any other thoughts on the set or the cards or what Bushiroad's doing. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys later in another Buddyfight video.